Welcome back to Ninja School, exposing PewDiePie episode 2 now. Let's say it's a coincidence that it's 11 episodes later after 666 episode 66.6 is up as a joke. As a joke, it just kind of worked out because funny thing is, right after, I get this amnesia, and guess what? I get the amnesia at October 31st. I call the feeling of amnesia this feeling that was I never felt before because it was so strong. I call it a death wish. I'm like, oh my god, this is insane. And I was starting to write a death note, trying to understand what is this all about. And I kind of linked the amnesia with the death wish because I felt sick. I felt really unwilling to live because just everything just kind of went numb and unimportant. And it was, yeah, the most weirdest part was not feeling myself anymore, not fully remembering of how reality works and how it feels like and all these things. It's really hard to explain, right? And I attempted to explain what this amnesia is in that video. And right after, strange things started happening, right? First, I was sort of attacked by black-eyed friends. I'm not sure exactly if I saw a figure of a black-eyed person or not. All I know is that I circled around and I tried to defend myself, but I sort of gave up in the end. And holy shit, I got probably possessed for a little while. Until I was not possessed and I woke up, sort of woke up. I'm not sure if I even slept. And then everything sort of was weird. I look into labels of food and it seems like it's poison. I drink water and it feels like it's oil. Everything sort of felt like poison at this point. And I sort of read through documents and it just felt like, what the hell is written on there? So, but it feels like I sort of confused myself in a way. But at the same time, this is reality. These documents seem to make no sense. Nothing seems to make sense. And I was never truly attacked, but I did got comments. And it was weird. I pressed on this video, Black Eyed Kid Survivor Trap. And instead of getting a normal video like you would get right now, and I believe I saw 200 views instead. So I have no idea how you can actually do this. But basically, I click on a video, and instead of having a normal video like right now, you would get a normal video.
Out of nowhere, entities that for a while across the.
It's from Fantastic Daily. But instead of getting a normal video, I heard something being eaten. Right, it's like black-eyed kids eating something. And even left a comment down here saying hi. Alright, I left a comment. I was so fucking scared, I was so confused of what's going on. Basically, this is after I released the video of Black-Eyed Friends Saved My Life. Again, I sort of just pretending to know what attacked me. Pretended to understand the whole fucking idea of this spiritual demonic attack, but after I said hi, and it was supposed to be a trap, I had to go to work. Nothing actually happened at work. Nothing is totally normal, but at the same time, I was tired and I was full of fear. So it was very hard to work. And eventually, I think I couldn't sleep or something. And then I talked to Vector, which seemed to be normal. I sort of was like weirded out because I couldn't put it together what was going on. So talk back to Vector, I guess the next day after work, and he sort of explains the whole situation. Not necessarily explains the whole situation, but sort of makes himself a friend again. And helps me find out one thing that I needed to change, which is find courage. And I find enough courage to say, oh, I'm going to take my sleep back. And Vector says, okay, I will come back with him, I guess. Let's see how you do that. Let's see how you take your sleep back. And I come outside with 2 knives. I was so pissed. I generate as much anger as possible to sort of whatever happens will happen. Whoever attacks me in this darkness at night, almost at night, I'll just try and fight back. And the funny thing happened. I saw a flash of light, sort of someone taking a picture of me. Yeah. So never mind that. So I go outside with 2 knives. Someone takes a picture of me, and I come back, and a bunch of fireworks starts going off, sort of indicating that I made some kind of a courageous move, but I'm still like a wimp or something. That it's still a funny joke, you know. I'm not that strong of a person to defend myself or whatever. But nothing actually happened. Besides that one flash. But then I started reading YouTube comments, and every single comment was directed towards me. Was speaking directly to me. And I was so scared that I just started training, started moving around and directing anger towards just becoming stronger that moment at least. The next day I was supposed to go to work, basically, into induction. So I sort of felt, because I picked up some clues that the work is going to be somewhat hard. One of those clues was, well, if you cannot work in any section, the problem is not with the workplace but with you. Would you agree? That sort of statement. But obviously, I exaggerate everything that is said. And the work is actually pretty good. It is hard. And I've almost put in the worst possible situation in that workplace, where I have to be taught by someone I don't like, by some authority personality, who I barely understand when he speaks because of this British accent that's going on. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit more, of how his personality works, because I really fucking hate it. And then I have to work with powder just disgusting material. Have to put on mask. It's just, it seems other places seem to be fairly easy in comparison. I'm just saying, but the work itself doesn't seem to be bad. In fact, it might be one of the best places I worked in. Besides the fact that I still need to get used to it, it's fairly complicated. But anyways, my expectations were obviously exaggerated because I have to prepare myself for anything bad that happens. I don't want to lose my job. It's one of the last places that I can go to without considering moving, and moving is fairly complicated process and fairly expensive process as well. If you don't have money to move, that will just ruin your life at this point. So I was really on that edge where that's why I considered suicide at this point. It's just too many problems. I just keep losing jobs so easily. And one of those things that really triggered me is when I said I'm quitting the current job that I had that was very unsatisfying, very expensive, not just mentally, but just I had to buy tokens to use the bus, and I had to buy tokens, which is again a waste of time. It's probably the only agency that enforces people to buy tokens, basically. And it's just so frustrating in general. Again, the entire work plays, and the fact that I'm not called or sent a message. When do I go to work? I have to waste another 20 minutes going back and forth into the agency and asking for the shift paper, which says when do you go to work on specific days, and I negotiated to go to work for like 24 hours ish. Just so much frustration. So right now the work that I have is a blessing, and I hope I will not lose it because of my stupid behavior, basically. Mostly hygiene, right? Something that I lost jobs back and forth. So the reason why, I just sort of don't care to have showers. I don't care to clean myself or clean my clothes, and some things I didn't know about necessarily of how to do certain things. Now it sort of seems fixed. I have prepared in so many ways. Shouldn't be a big problem. Especially, the biggest problem wasn't me. It was the fact that work was making me sweat. Work was too hard, and that's where sweat comes from. It's not, or it's too hot. The environment is too hot, and then you start sweating as well. But it usually is a combination of hard work and heat that pushes you over the edge. And the moment I sweat, I can't help it. I will stink. What am I supposed to do? So, yeah, but most importantly is when you're not only just exhausted, but you're sort of scared. Fear is one of the most smelliest things, basically. And when I went into the spirit world, I felt like I was in the spirit world at this point. When spirits were talking to me, writing YouTube comments directly at me. YouTube comments. I scroll down into a random video into YouTube comments and I read, oh shit, they probably mean me. The first day that it happened, where I hear a bunch of fireworks right after I come out with knives, right after I show a bunch of courage and anger. I read, oh, it's a dancing nun, because I was trying to train my body and prepare for the next day again for the job, which I didn't know what was gonna happen, or maybe it's going to be super hard. Maybe the employee actually knows now who I am, I felt like I I felt like the first time when all these fireworks go off, I felt like, oh, I didn't knew that I was living in a demon world, and now I have to train myself to actually become incredibly powerful, incredibly more powerful, if I want to stand a chance of just living life. It's like the rules of life completely changed at this point, and I felt so angry that I didn't knew all this stuff. It's just so many thoughts I had to go through when nothing actually was happening, besides a bunch of noise, that little flash, a bunch of comments. Nothing really actually happened. No actual interaction with a person, besides one friend that I had, that old man. The interaction with old man was really weird. I was able to call him up at 5 a.m. He would wake up. So he obviously would be angry that I woke him up like this, but then he comes up to the door and takes a piss. And I'm like, what the fuck? He's disrespecting me right now. Doesn't know what's, or he does know what's going on. And it's like, holy shit, what is happening? And I had to just, he comes out, he talks some weird stuff about his cancer, and then sort of I felt like he was talking about my cancer at this point, and that I'm doing something wrong. And I'm like, oh shit. And I felt like, okay, he's gonna pull me in and sort of want to eat me. This was the most scariest night in general, where I couldn't just go back to my home. Instead I just went to a basement to spend the rest of the day. And there was again some weird shit going on in that basement. I just, so fucking frustrating. The whole thing is just so hard to comprehend at this point. And then you have fucking PewDiePie, which, when I got rid of all of this bullshit, and I felt like I trapped someone in a prison, God spoke to me. As I said, I mentioned this before. And he mentions that PewDiePie is a very important figure, and that was PewDiePie. The spirit that I trapped there in the prison, the spirit that talked to me all this time after I imprisoned the spirit, and it was like a very disgusting voice. And the spirit wasn't really talking to me, it's just I heard my own intention from an outside source, meaning that whatever I think in my head, I heard it from somewhere else, which just kind of confuses me in general. Like, is it me because of that? Was I talking to myself? Like, this is fucking confusing. Just everything is confusing. Life is fucking confusing in general. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I guess it's basically okay. So what the fuck happened episode 2 at this point? I have Vector saying I love lasagna, and I just got killed by this joke. Because he is allegedly a virgin, just like I am. And he makes this joke that she can't make as a virgin. You don't love lasagna. You don't get to eat lasagna. Then you have PewDiePie singing bitch lasagna against T-Series, saying that T-Series is some kind of kid that in the pajama is weaker, whatever. And I can't help myself, but the God said as well, I am T-Series, I am Donald Trump, I am this opposing side, basically. Like Naruto versus Sasuke, he even mentioned that. and again, God spoke through me, so it's very hard to say whether I was saying these things or actually God was saying these things. I sort of felt like I was in the back row, just sort of enjoying the ride of whatever is God gonna say. But at the same time, I often feel like this, where I'm in someone's in the back row and someone's taking the wheel, basically, of what is going to be said. But it was so well scripted, so poetic, so unstoppable, right? I was constantly talking, like, where did these words come out? But now making a video, and it is what it is. So just so weird. So weird. It's like, wait, if you just snap your fingers, placebo, and you become God, essentially. If you just have enough courage, everyone is gonna bow down to you, or maybe you're gonna unveil some new form of life. Another interesting thing is I sort of solved the idea of where are you going from when I was asked. And I sort of realized life is more important than heaven or hell, because when you go to heaven or hell, you're dead. Right? So life is actually more important. In fact, you have to reason with the idea that angels are trying to keep you alive, and, well, demons are trying to kill you because, well, you're an evil person most of the time. I don't think demons actually attack good people, but it is tempting to kill yourself when you're a good person. That's the way demons approach this issue. Is like, well, you're open-minded if you're a good person, so you have to consume all this information, right? And it's the main tactic, as I said, in Satanism is to just put so much information that it just kind of conflicts your mind, and it's basically happened to me, and it was really, really hard to fight against myself and my superstitious views of reality, simply because I experienced some crazy new things and I didn't know how to actually treat them, and I still don't know. And I still don't know what role PewDiePie plays in this whole game. Is this just bullshit? So I have to go all the way and understand. He wrote a book. He wrote a book that's really weird, because the opening page is very fucking weird. I wanted to read it, but I'm gonna do the whole thing in the next episode. So, yeah, whatever. This is it. So I guess what I talked about is Okay, What the Fuck Happened, episode 2. Alright.